Welcome to the Daily 30, a daily 30-minute live show covering world news, politics, entrepreneurship and business, personal development, social media, and digital marketing. My name is Ivan Temelkov, Chief Human Marketer at Razor Sharp Digital, the world's #1 human marketing agency where we help brands and entrepreneurs forge their digital footprint using multi-channel marketing, emotional engagement, and community cultivation. This is episode 3 of the Daily 30. We are broadcasting live on Facebook, LinkedIn Live, YouTube, Periscope, and Twitter, and Twitch. And if you would like to join and watch, we air every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday each week, starting at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And here are today's trending headlines on world news, politics, entrepreneurship and business, personal development, social, and digital that I want to talk about today. So the first one is Taiwan marks 200 days without domestic COVID-19 infection. Dude, I'm done. When politics tears families and friendships apart, what should we do? And can you start a business with a criminal record? Really good question. How great leaders support their employees' growth, and how content and marketing automation can maximize your digital marketing efforts. So without further ado, I want to go ahead and just jump into the first topic that I want to talk about, and that is on world news. Taiwan marks 200 days without domestic COVID-19 infection. So very interesting article that I stumbled across this morning that I wanted to share with you and share some bits and pieces on that one. So Taiwan has reached a record 200 days without any domestically transmitted cases of COVID-19, underlining its success in keeping the virus under control as cases rise across much of the world. Taiwanese authorities acted early to halt the spread of the disease, brought in strict control measures, including 2 weeks of quarantine to anyone flying into the island, and poured resources into testing and tracing. Checks on travelers arriving from Wuhan, where the epidemic started, were brought in on 31st of December. As soon as health authorities they're told the World Health Organization that were treating cases of viral pneumonia of unknown origin. So of known origin is actually in quotations, believe it or not. So very interesting article that I came across this morning that I want to talk about. Obviously, being in the midst of this pandemic, there's a lot of questions around what's going to happen and how long is this pandemic going to stick around. And, I think there's definitely, a sign of hope. The fact that, in Taiwan has been 200 days free of the COVID-19 infection. So that's, definitely, most definitely, sign of progress. And so that was the first topic that I wanted to talk about today, and that is on world news. And let's see, the second topic that I want to chat with you guys about, and here we go. The second thing, okay, now this is really, really key here. Now follow me along, okay? This one is something that a lot of people are struggling with right now, okay? And that is, you guessed it, politics. Instead of losing friends and family over politics, how about you try communicating, okay? So I ran across this article this morning from NPR. Dude, I'm done. When politics tear families and friendships apart. Let's face it, politics is a very sensitive issue for a lot of people. A lot of people struggle with it. A lot of people, lose friends and family, over it. And, I don't know about you guys, but I truly, truly hope that you're not losing any friends and family over, politics. But here's some tips that I want to share, that the article was talking about. If you find yourself fighting with a friend over politics, or frustrated and furious with your nearest and dearest over whom they're supporting for president, you're hardly alone. So a recent survey shows just how much the nation's bitter political divide is causing social splintering and taking a toll on friendships. So, I don't disagree. I think a lot of people just, can't agree to disagree when it comes to politics. And in fact, they're allowing politics, to create a divide between friends and family. And that is frustrating, honestly. I mean, I don't know why you would do that, let's see, a couple other things that I wanted to share here. So, let's see. So, the article really just talks about, the things that you can do, really, to close the gap. And really, in the grand scheme of things, is just communicate. Communicate with, your friends and family. It's okay. It's okay to agree to disagree. Whether you choose to vote for Biden or choose to vote for Trump, we should have a happy medium. And I feel like in the U.S. right now, there's a huge divide between people, friends and family and acquaintances, largely because of political reasons. And, the best way to overcome that is to communicate. Just communicate with people and say, you know what? Okay, well, you're choosing to vote for Biden or you're choosing to vote for Trump, so that's okay. That's okay. It's okay that we have different thoughts. It's okay that, we have a different outlook. It's okay that, we're both not going to vote for the same political candidate. And I think that, that's probably one of the biggest challenges here for people right now, is because, they simply cannot set that aside. They simply cannot set that aside. And I'm going to be honest with you, if you want to be the bigger person, you're going to find a way to communicate with friends and family and acquaintances and set your political differences aside, because you know what? That's just what we do as human beings. Okay. That's what we should do, as human beings. So that was the second topic that I wanted to talk about. And that was on politics. Okay. Politics. So let's move on to the third trending headline that, I wanted to talk about today. And that is on entrepreneurship and business. And that talks about, can you start a business with a criminal record? Okay, that's an excellent question. And, to most people would say no. Criminals should not be allowed, to start businesses. And there's a fine line in that. So according to an Entrepreneur.com article this morning, a couple of things that I'm going to share about starting a business with a criminal record. So, if someone who's had a dark past, and I know some people that are former felons, honestly, and I know some people will frown upon that because they think that, felons should be permanently locked up. Felons don't deserve a second chance. But, I'd beg to disagree in that regard, because, I think that some people, can be rejuvenated. Some people can be reformed. And so the article talks about, the fact that having a criminal record can make it difficult to get hired, find a place to live, and many other tasks. But can it stop you from starting your own business? Okay. And the answer is no, it can't stop you. Okay. And let me talk about it. Why? So a lot of former criminals can benefit from starting a business in several important ways: self-direction, independence and freedom, and avoiding employment issues. So self-direction is, rather than waiting for someone else to provide you with a job, you have the power to create it yourself. So, if you have a record, if you're a criminal, and you're trying to revive your life, to reform and take a different direction, then, self-direction is a great way to do that. Independence and freedom. Many people start a business because it provides them the independence and freedom. So you actually don't have to be a criminal, believe it or not, that to have that independence and freedom. And a lot of people just don't understand that starting a business actually gives you that ability, that independence and that freedom, to start your own business, to make your own decisions, set your own rules as opposed to having someone else do them for you. Avoiding employment issues. Obviously, many ex-cons find it difficult to get hired because of their criminal past. But if you're starting a business from scratch, you won't have to go through the interview process. And in fact, whether a criminal or not, that's one of the beauties, of starting your own business, is that you don't have to worry about going through, a very, very tedious interview process, only so, you can start a job. You know what I mean? Or I should say, make a living, over that job. And actually, I just realized that I forgot to change the captions, and it says episode 3 or episode 2 from yesterday on here, and this is actually episode 3 of the Daily 30. So that's okay. Mistakes happen. We just roll with it. So a few more things that the Entrepreneur article was, talking about is that there are some limitations, if you have a criminal record, felons in certain positions. So for starters, felons are sometimes limited to the types of positions they can hold. So for example, you'll not be able to create a business or establish a position for yourself in the legal and medical field. So there are some restrictions, to starting a business. If you're trying to start a business and you have a criminal record, you're probably not going to be able to do it if you're trying to start, like a law firm or like a medical business in the medical field. Licensing and registry. So you might find some limitations there because certain things require a background check. Travel, obviously, criminal records can also impact your ability to travel, interfering with your visa or visa waiver application. So, trying to travel out of the country for business with a criminal record, you might find yourself with some limitations and some restrictions there. And then funding also, funding, it can be a difficult thing, simply because angel investors or VC, are looking at your past, because your past in some or fashion actually is a way to be able to pinpoint, your track record. So if you have a past of criminal endeavors, then, that's something that, investors and VC are going to frown upon. So you might have some limitations there. So that was, the third trending headline today, and what I wanted to talk about, and that is entrepreneurship and business. Can you start a business with a criminal record? Yes, you can, but you will have certain limitations, obviously, like, anything else out there. Let's move on to the fourth topic that I want to talk about, and that is personal development. How great leaders support their employees' growth. Let's face it, this is a very, very challenging arena, simply because, there's a lot of companies out there who simply do not support, their employees. And, it can be extremely difficult, if you're trying to break through, at a company that you're working at, if you're still doing the 9-to-5 grind, and, you want to move up into upper management, leadership, it can be challenging, when a company does not support you. So how do great leaders support their employees' growth? I ran across this article on bbntimes.com this morning, and first I want to talk about why some leaders make growth and development a priority, and why some leaders, or they're really not leaders, but some people actually, don't support some companies, some individuals, and key roles don't support their employees, and that is because of bandwidth availability, the scarcity thinking, and then being ego driven. Let's face it, we've all had or have a boss who was very ego driven, and they simply wouldn't support us. They wouldn't say anything positive because they're so self-centered on themselves. Let's face it, I've had one of those, or two of those, or three of those, actually. It's actually very common in the modern workplace. So, the reality of things is that personal and skill development changes lives, and here's why. Instead of thinking small, think big. So that's what true leaders do. Instead of making excuses, they make results. Instead of rejecting coaching, they embrace coaching. Instead of believing success is for others, they believe it's for them. So you have to believe it to achieve it. And if you believe it to achieve it, you can convey that rationale to your employees. Instead of having bad habits, form good ones. So we all have bad habits, and let's just face it, forming good habits is actually a lot harder, believe it or not. So, leaders do that. They form new habits and convey those new habits as insight and value to their employees at their organization. Instead of being pessimistic, they become optimistic. I don't know about you guys, but the social space is full of pessimism right now. Maybe because it's election time, and too many people are being pessimistic. Too many people are being negative about anything and everything. It seems like too many people are just, and pessimistic too. Too many people are just harping on stuff that I don't know if necessarily even, you should spend your time or energy in. You can clearly tell that they're trying to stir the fire, and that gives them some level of gratification. Instead of struggling in their career, they thrive in it. This is what leaders do. How to support employee growth and development. Ask them about their dreams and ambitions. So one thing that I do is I ask my employee, like, what are your dreams? What are your ambitions? Like how can I help you? What are you looking to accomplish? What are your goals? What are your dreams? How can I help you reach those goals and dreams? Encourage them to do things when failure is likely. So, I think a lot of employees in most organizations, are afraid. They have the scarcity mindset. And as a result, they refrain from trying new things. So encouraging them to do things where failure is likely actually will create a new experience and help teach them new things. Have them teach or present to others. And in closing, supporting your employees' development by asking about their dreams, encouraging them to do tough things, and having them teach what they have learned to others isn't easy. It requires really for you to think for yourself as a coach and have endless patience. And I don't know about you guys, but everybody talks about patience. Everybody talks about positivity and optimism until that's truly tested. Okay. And when that's truly tested, then you suddenly, find out what people are really about. You find out how optimistic they are. You find out how positive they really are. So personal development is key because personal development really pushes you forward. And as a leader, you can absolutely 100% convey that positivity and optimism to your employees or, your clients even, or just acquaintances or people you talk to in the social media space. That's a really, really good way, to empower others. And that's just it. It's about empowerment, being able to uplift others and support them and encourage them. There's never shortage of that because the world is getting darker and darker, and there's just too much negativity and pessimism and narcissism even in the world to where, especially in the workplace, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a business owner, or if you're a CEO of a company, CMO of a company, COO, whatever your role is, if you've got an executive role specifically, then, definitely focus on encouraging people. If you do that, you're going to help uplift them and they're going to thank you for that. I know I've had several people over the years that I've just had, conversations with, whether it was, people on my team when I was in the agency world, specifically, or just people, acquaintances, prospects, or even clients that we would have conversations with, and showing that level of support for their success, for their dreams, for their goals, it speaks great lengths. It shows true leadership. And people admire and appreciate that because people remember the actions. People remember what you do, not necessarily what you say, what you do, how you act. So that's really, really important from a personal development standpoint. And then the last article that I actually ran across, that I want to talk to you guys about has to do, with social and digital. And, before we move on to that, if you're just tuning in, this is episode 3 of the Daily 30. My name is Ivan Temelkov, Chief Human Marketer at Razor Sharp Digital, the world's #1 human marketing agency, where we'll help brands and entrepreneurs forge their digital footprint using multi-channel marketing, emotional engagement, and community cultivation. The Daily 30 is a live 30-minute daily show covering world news, politics, entrepreneurship and business, personal development, social media, and digital marketing. And that is actually the last headline, the last topic, that I want to talk about here. And that is on social and digital. So how can content and marketing automation maximize your digital marketing efforts? And I ran across a really cool infographic actually from socialmediatoday.com that talked about content and marketing, with some 84% of people now expecting brands to produce content that entertains, provides solutions, and engages. It's clear that there's a clear need for brands to be generating material tailored to each stage of the buyer journey. So if you are a business, and I don't care what industry or vertical you operate in, you have to understand that, entertaining, educational, informational content is what's in high demand. It's how you entice people to buy your product or service, by educating them, by entertaining them, simply because you're creating an emotion, and people buy based on emotion. So that is what consumers are demanding. And this article that I wanted to talk about here real quick with you guys, just to cover a couple of things. Excuse me. Talks about it's a very, very interesting graphic actually that I want to share with you guys. So content and marketing information are two peas in a pod. Content is the brand ambassador of any organization. You just have to make sure it's curated that way. Why is content king? So 91% of B2B marketers use content marketing to reach customers. 56% of businesses want to increase their content creation spending. Let's see, a couple of things that this graphic highlights. So email is still huge. 89% of marketers state that email marketing was their primary lead generation channel. So it goes to show that, email is still hot. So if you're not utilizing that, absolutely consider filling that into your mix. And let's see, 92% marketers reported that their company views content as a business asset. Content marketing helps you with brand awareness, lead qualification, customer engagement, and retention, improved sales also. So, one of the things that, people have to realize, entrepreneurs, businesses, I don't care what industry or vertical you operate in, it's extremely important to realize that you have to create content. It's important to create content simply because it's content that drives initiative. It's content, that drives interaction. It's content that generates interest and creates appeal and emotion in order for, people to engage with you. And, I had actually someone who reached out to me yesterday on Facebook and was asking me about, how to increase their Instagram following. And I think that's probably one of the biggest misconceptions, right now, is that a lot of brands and a lot of entrepreneurs think that they can just skyrocket overnight. And with Instagram, being such a hot platform specifically, it's that, a lot of businesses want instant gratification. They want people to buy their product, buy their service right off the bat without spending any time actually cultivating the audience, any time actually educating and informing people and creating a report. When you think about it, is this the three things that, I always talk about, if you've been following me for a while, is that there's 3 reasons why, people will buy your product or service. And one It's because of likability. They have to like you. If you're not likable, they're not going to want to buy your product or service. Trust. So they're going to have to trust you. And the way you develop trust is through consistency in the social space and with content specifically is you develop trust through consistency. Consistency in the sense that you're publishing content that's entertaining, educational, informational, like these lives that I'm doing here, to help entice the audience because you're giving them some value. And that is the third thing. So likability, trust, and value. And all of those three things actually take time to develop. So you have to be patient. You have to be, persistent in your efforts, and just continue to grow and expand your network to a point to where you're going to be able to establish that likability, that trust, and that value. So that is really all that I wanted to cover today. So we talked about world news, politics, entrepreneurship and business, personal development, social and digital marketing. And once again, my name is Ivan Temelkov, Chief Human Marketer at Razor Sharp Digital, the world's #1 human marketing agency where we help brands and entrepreneurs forge their digital footprint using multi-channel marketing, emotional engagement, and community cultivation. This was episode 3 of the Daily 30 live on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn Live, Periscope, and Twitter. And that's all I have, guys, that I want to share with you guys. These were the trending headlines today. Hopefully this brought you some value. If so, please let me know in the comment section below. If someone needs to hear this, feel free to share it with them in your network. I would greatly appreciate it. And until tomorrow, by the way, new episode of The Roz Project with my amazing co-host, Courtney Turner, coming at you at noon Central Standard Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, right here on your favorite social media platform. God bless you all. Thank you so much for watching. Until tomorrow, bye-bye.